Number 17. We are going to distribute -3 to everything inside the parentheses because -3 is touching the parentheses. So we use the distributive property, and that means I need to multiply it to 1x, and I need to multiply it to -3, which is really plus a negative. So -3 times -3. Okay. And -3 times 1, that's a negative times a positive. Remember, we use this. A negative times a positive is a negative. And I just follow the triangle. So negative times this positive is going to give me a -3x, because -3 times 1 is -3. Bring down my x. -3 times -3, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So that is going to be positive 9 plus 2x. Now I need to combine like terms. And to combine like terms, I'm going to take my like terms, which is box and box, and bring them together. So that is going to be 3 negatives plus 2 positives. Cancel, cancel, and I'm left with 1 negative. And I write my x because I'm talking about the x family. Those are the like terms I'm talking about, the x's. This constant, it's a number without a letter. I bring it down. It doesn't have a friend, it's a loner. And now, this is my final answer. And I don't see any ones here, but it's a letter without a number in front. It doesn't have a coefficient. So I'm going to write 1. Alright, and now which one would be the answer? It's B. Number 18. Simplify the expression 11 minus 2, open parentheses, y plus 4. So I need to distribute, put plus a negative, and I need to distribute the -2 to everything inside of the parentheses. And distribute means to multiply. So there is a 1 in front of this y, so I'm really saying -2 times 1. That is -2y. -2 times 1 is -2. And I bring down my y, because I'm talking about the y. And remember, a negative times a positive is a negative. Same thing, negative times a positive 4. Negative times a positive is a negative. So that is going to be plus a -8. Now, could you have just wrote -8 instead? Yes, you could have. So I'm going to show you how to solve both of them, okay? So I have to bring down.
If you are in the building, please come to the main office. Morena Hernandez. If you are in the building and hear this, please come to the main office.
Sorry, guys. We're still at school. Okay, so bring down the 11, because that's the constant. It doesn't have it's not being multiplied by -2 because it's not inside the parentheses. Now we look for like terms. So we have one here and here. And that is, these are constants. And so I have 11 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 8 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cancel, 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 cancel. And I have 3 left, and they're positives. So I need to write plus 3 at the end and bring down the -2y because there was no one to combine it with. And then here is just 11 and then -8, and you have to know that 11 minus 8 is 3. So whichever one you want to use. Now be careful, because you know 11 minus 8 is 3. If you're not careful, you'll try to put this together, but you cannot, because you're writing it behind y. You need a plus because it was positive. Not just because it's behind it, but because it was a positive 3. So you use whichever example makes sense to you. That makes the answer be letter C. Okay, now I want to talk about number 19. just to make sure that you understand this question. It says to fill in the blank, the steeper the line. Okay, so we know the steepness has to do with looking at the slope of the line. So, one thing that needs to be added in the answer choices on D is the larger the absolute value of the slope becomes, the steeper the line. So I needed to add that in there. That wasn't on there. My mistake, I apologize. So on number 9, I want to show you a simple example. I have here a worksheet, something already done, not a worksheet, but something I created. And I've plotted the point at 0, 3. I've plotted the rise over run from going up 1, right 2, or going right 2 and then up 1. Either one is the same. It's the same thing. So if you rise 1 and then go right 2, you're good. But if you decide, you know what, I'm used to running first, I want to run first, and then you run 2 and then rise 1, you're okay as well. Now, let's talk about this line over here. I plotted -5, 0 on the x because the -5 was in the x spot. And then I grabbed slope 6. I put 6 over 1. And you can go and run 1 first if you want to. And then rise up 6. And you'll still get it right. Just as long as you follow the formula rise over run and assign rise to the top number and run to the bottom number. Okay, so from there, I notice I have 2 lines and I'm trying to figure out which line is steeper. Well, if I'm thinking about a hill and I'm going up this hill, which one is steeper? Is it going to be this line or this line? Well, which one is scarier? Which hill are you afraid that you're going to fall off of? This one. And so the scarier line is going to be your steeper line. Now, not only is it the scarier line, but if you look at the slopes, this slope is 1/2 and this slope is 6. So what does that tell me? The larger this slope, this bigger, this line is steeper. Now, what am I talking about when I say absolute value? Take the absolute value of something means that it will come out positive. And so there's no need to take the absolute value here because they're already positive. I'm going to take the absolute value when they're negative. So I'm going to talk about what that absolute value part means right here under it. But again, the larger the slope, the steeper the line. But let me show you and tell you why I had to add the words absolute value. Because look at this. -2/3 is this slope. I plotted 4, 5, 4, -5. There it is. And I went down 2 and right 3. You see that? Because the negative goes to the top or to the bottom. Because when it's in the middle, only one of the numbers get the negative, which is why I went down and then right. And over here, I had a -2, so I had to put it over 1. So when I plotted -1, -8, which is right here, I had to go down 2 and right 1. Or I could have went right 1 from this point and then went down 2. Same difference. Okay, but let's look at the steepness. So this is a roller coaster ride, and that one and this one. Which one is scarier? Which one am I feel like I'm going to go down faster? Of course, this one here, because it's almost standing up. The line that stands up more is your steeper line, the scarier line. Now, when we say the bigger the slope, we have to be careful because on a number line, here is 0. 2/3 is 0.6667. So let's say 1/2 is right there and 1 is here. And then let's say that 0.5 is right here and 1 is here. Okay, and so then here I need a -2, don't I? So let's just ignore that over there. That's half, and then there's -2. So let's only look at this side. The closer it is to 0, the bigger the number. So I see here that -1 and -0.5 are here. So this number, 0.6667, the negative of it would be right about here. Right? Or maybe a little to the right. So here is -2/3. Now let's look at -2, where here it is right here. The closer it is to 0, the bigger the number. So this is really the bigger number. But this is the scarier line. So how does that work? That's because it is the larger the absolute value of the number, the steeper the line. So when I come here, I want to show you, start over, press 1, new document. No, I do not want to save, and I want a calculator. I want to show you the absolute value of the calculator. So here's the button here next to 9 that I press, and then I come down here to absolute value. When I type in -2, look what it does to it. It makes it positive, because taking the absolute value of a negative number makes it positive. Now taking the absolute value of a positive number, wrong button, the button next to 9, press enter to select the absolute value bars. The absolute value of a positive number is just +2, okay? So when I take the absolute value of a negative number, it makes it positive. And if I take the absolute value of a positive number, it makes it positive. It's already positive, it just keeps it positive. So when you take the absolute value of this number here and the absolute value of this number here, you get a +2/3 and a +2. So which one is bigger now? The 2 is. And the 2 matches, it's bigger, and this line is steeper. So that is why we had to add over here. The steeper the line, the larger the absolute value of the slope will be. And D is your answer. Number 20, which inequality best describes the domain and range of the function? So we know to draw a line to find the domain, because you can think about it as doors, because D starts with the domain starts with the D. And it goes through the 3, and I'm on the left side, not the right side. So it's going to be less than. And the only one that says less than or equal to, because he's shaded in, is going to be B. But I want to check and make sure that my answer is right for the range. So to do the range, I draw a horizontal line. And it is above this line, and that means greater than, and it does say greater than. It has to say equal to because it's shaded in. Number 21, when the slope of the line is undefined, when is the slope of the line undefined? I look at my slope guide. And so this is an undefined line, and this has a U for undefined. So the undefined line, the vertical line, the nose, is undefined, so vertical.